Well, we begin with a story that's been drawing a lot of attention this week. The growing backlash to big billion-dollar corporations who are sponsoring transgender influencer and activist Dylan Mulvaney, and the wider debate about the inclusion of transgender women and female issues in spaces. Less than a week after Mulvaney generated controversy for becoming a paid partner for Bud Light, this happened. It's now facing a boycott. She now has a paid partnership with Nike to model sports bras and leggings on social media. As you can see, Mulvaney has also partnered with Ulta, Kate Spade, and even Tampax. Proponents say the companies are promoting diverse talent, but critics are arguing that companies are promoting transgenderism and pandering to the woke left. You know, Harris, you said something, I believe it was last week, and it just hit me. It was about politics infiltrating its way into stadiums and sporting events. And I believe it was you who said something like, you know, when you're looking at a product, when you're drinking a beer, when you're going to a stadium, you just don't want to have these conversations.
Remember, it was about the name change. And you said, I'm not going to a stadium
Yeah, that's true.
that's called climate change whatever. And I said, yeah, you just want to go for the game. So is this much like that? Probably. You know, you want to work out, you want to do the things you want to do. Do we need to flex in every way what people are feeling every time we do something? Can we just go and do what we do? I don't get to be not black everywhere I go, but I also don't make it an issue everywhere I go. Like, it doesn't become your issue when you go to work out or you go to see a game that I'm black. So, I'm not really sure where people want to be on this, because this is big and it's changing us and it's making us cancel each other if we don't agree in places and spaces where we should just be living and enjoying.
Right, exactly. You know, let's take a look at this, Sean. This is a Budweiser commercial, walk down memory lane. This is as recently as 2020, the kinds of commercials Budweiser was putting together.
They call us typical Americans. Maybe because we live typical American lives. Like this typical American, showing off his strength. So typical. Look at him, touching other people's things. Always so competitive. Typical Americans, showing up uninvited.
Oh, buddy.
Typical Americans, always celebrating with their typical American beer. So, next time someone labels you typical, show them what typical can do.
You know, 3 years after that, I don't think we see firemen in commercials and military. That was an inclusive commercial. It was a beautiful one. It praised America, all Americans. Why can't we just embrace that?
Well, I think it's a really good point to make it to show the prior commercial, because there's a lot of conversation about what impact this has on women, on girls, on sports, on fairness. But this is a point about what does this have to do with men? In these commercials, they tell a story about who men are. They celebrate strength and hard work and patriotism. They celebrate masculinity in these commercials. Well, you change that and you start to denigrate masculinity. You start to denigrate our immutable characteristics, which are masculine, and you want a masculine culture. I mean, our military enrollees now are at historic lows. People aren't enrolling for the military, but you need strong men to defend their culture, to fight in wars, to defend their country. You need men to defend their families, hopefully not, but maybe defend their wives, to work and provide for their families. You start to denigrate that, you denigrate all of society. And for me, I'm troubled the messages that this sends to young men and young boys about what it means to be a man, and it undermines what we've projected over the course of the last 250 years in this country.
Yeah, and troubles for young women as well. Emily, we have some images from Nike commercials we'll put up, and you see them celebrating female athletes who go out there, who put untold numbers of hours into their sport, who now it's an unlevel playing field in the wake of inviting biological men into the wake. You know, why can't we put people like Mensa Stock, that beautiful wrestler, Olympian, who embraced the American flag, who hugged it, who's such a great symbol for our country? Why can't we elevate figures like this?
Right. Loretta Claiborne, who was one of the champions and pioneers of the Special Olympics. She's an amazing athlete. The issue I have is, first of all, there's no diversity when every single big corporation uses the same person, right?
Good point.
Apparently no one can think beyond the other person's screen. And secondly, Mulvaney went on, you know, part of her personal Instagram post, whatever, was, I just learned what March Madness was, so now I'm taking part. So this is someone who apparently doesn't even know sports, or at least didn't know it enough, wasn't a fan enough to participate, let alone the athletes that we're talking about. And when Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch and everyone else says, well, we're trying to engage with a certain demographic, well, the demographic would then be sports fans, if that's their point, right? And I think about, I've had the utmost pleasure and honor to attend, the Super Bowl and the World Series and the Olympics and really so many amazing events. But the one that was the most amazing, the most incredible that I have ever been to was the 2012 Paralympics in London. And I think about, to me, who, in my opinion, is the greatest athlete of all time, is Laura Webster. She's a sitting volleyball player for the women's USA team. She's competed in over 5 Paralympics, medaled each year. She was part of the original inaugural Paralympic sitting volleyball team. They are incredible. She's incredible. She won the best blocker of the Paralympic Games in Rio. And 2 of those Paralympic Games, where they medaled, she was pregnant.
Wow.
That is a champion. That is someone that is worthy of being put on every advertisement, from Nike to Anheuser-Busch to everything.
But to that point, we have seen pregnant female athletes discriminated against by none other than Nike. Let's have a walk down memory lane. Allison Felix. She was a former Olympian, very medaled. Here's what she had to say in a New York Times piece. For most of my life, I was focused on one thing, winning medals, and I was good at it. At 32, I was one of the most decorated athletes in history, a 6-time Olympic gold medal winner and an 11-time world champion. But last year, my focus expanded. I wanted to be a professional athlete and a mother. I decided to start a family in 2018, knowing that pregnancy could be the kiss of death in my industry. As the runner Phoebe Wright put in the Times last week, it was a terrifying time for me because I was negotiating a renewal of my Nike contract. Negotiations were not going well despite all my victories. Nike wanted to pay me 70% less.
Wow.
They ended up changing their policy, but this is how they treated biological women in sports.
Yeah, Nike has a real problem here. And there's another athlete, a champion runner named Kara Goucher, who is a long-distance runner, and she silver medaled in the 2007 World Championships. She represented Team USA and Nike's Oregon project in 2 Olympics. And, she just released her memoir talking about how she was sexually assaulted by her coach, who was this running god, Alberto Salazar, who, was one of the most famous distance runners in the world. And he worked on this Nike Oregon project team, apparently sexually assaulting their highest caliber athletes. And then when she got pregnant, Nike did the same thing. They cut her pay and threatened her with a 25% pay cut if she missed any meets. So she was expected postpartum to have the exact same competition schedule that she did beforehand. And if not, she would be actively discriminated against. This is the way that Nike treats women. And this is unacceptable. And, if Dylan Mulvaney wants to make a bunch of money and has figured out her lane and her way of branding herself and making a bunch of money, have at it. I love capitalism. And if you are representing a product where it's like, oh, this person looks like they know how to do makeup well and they look like they're so much fun with Ulta and maybe Budweiser, but Tampax and running bras, show me someone who's been in my shoes. Show me Allison Felix. Show me someone who has tried to balance work, motherhood, and, world-class athleticism. That is the person I want to be inspired by, but that is the person Nike's left on the side of the road.
You're exactly right. Dylan Mulvaney, this is capitalist society. She wants to make money. She can. But in capitalism, people can also protest with their pocketbook. Travis Tritt dropping Anheuser-Busch. Kid Rock also having some pretty harsh words for Anheuser-Busch.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.